Hello and welcome to episode 25 of Fluffy Fibres, the French podcast in English on sewing, knitting, spinning, reading and living green, all of course with the occasional help of the kitty of the house. I am Isabelle and you can find me on Instagram, Ravelry, Pinterest and Twitter as Fluffy Fibres, and you can also find the show notes at kittycouture.blogspot.com. Thank you very much for joining me today on this very, very sunny spring afternoon of March the 6th, 2015. Yes, spring has definitely arrived here in southern France and it's quite wonderful. It's made me want to sew all the things. I always get a lot of more sewing inspiration in the spring because I love making dresses and spring and summer outfits. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot more sewing in the months to come here on Fluffy Fibres. Before I start on the podcast, I just wanted to welcome everyone, new and returning listeners, and just get caught up with everything here. Seb and I have actually been really sick for the past couple of weeks actually. We got a flu that just kept going worse and getting worse and kept going on as well. Today's the first day when I'm feeling about normal, so that's why I'm recording later as well in the week, but I did wanted to record not to let another week slip by because I've been really enjoying this 2-week interval between the episodes, and it's just been so much more enjoyable for me to do that, because as I told you last time, I'm much more into my projects and I remember all the little details and so on. So we've also had quite a few worries with Petite Mignonne, our cat, who's been that's why she's not. I wanted to have her with me right now, but she's just enjoying the sun. We have a very small terrace, like a large balcony. And the sun is hitting it right now, so she's basking in the sun right now, and so I didn't want to disturb her. I just suddenly realised she was losing weight. I was cuddling her, and I realised suddenly that I was feeling her bones a lot more. And I weighed her, and sure enough, she'd lost one kilo, which is a little over 2 pounds. Which is a lot, compared with her body weight, of course. And so she had quite a few exams at the vet, 2 days in a row this week. And we were able to rule out quite a few things, which is wonderful. Basically, she's aging and her heart is aging. And she's 12, and we adopted her when she was 2, and the first 2 years of her life were really rough as well. So I was really expecting the worst, to be honest, because of that, and we'd been prepared, when we adopted her, that she might have some health issues in the future because of, being undernourished and that kind of thing. So in the end, of course, I wish she was better, but I'm also trying to be to be philosophical about it, because she's 12 and she's not getting younger. She's perfectly, she's not in any pain or anything. Her behavior has always been the same. She's very cuddly, very happy around company. She loves our daughter. Every evening when my daughter comes home, Petite Mignonne, my cat, goes to greet her, and she loves being with her. She keeps searching her in the house, trying to be in the same room as us. So that's a very good sign. But yeah, we do have to take extra care. She's going to have medication now, and yeah, that's things. But I was really worried this week, and that's also why I've been a little silent from everywhere, really. When I'm not, we've also had some bad news, really, in the family that I can't really share because it's not directly to do with us. But it's been a difficult couple of weeks, I have to say. And so in that case, I'm not very talkative. I just I just keep silent and let the storm pass, really. But I'm feeling better, and I'm much more, I feel that we've solved, we know what's going on with Petite Mignonne, so that's good as well. I mean, it could be so much worse, So yeah, things go on, and of course I have lots of crafts to keep me happy, and so let's crack on, shall we? Especially as I might not have a lot of time today, so I'm trying to keep this shorter, although we all know how that goes usually. But anyway, today's episode will include my cup of tea, a handmade wardrobe, a bit of sewing, a bit of knitting, and a bit of spinning. So, and events as well. Oh, sorry. Yes. So today's episode will include my cup of tea, a handmade wardrobe, events, a bit of sewing, a bit of knitting, and a bit of spinning. So first of all, for my cup of tea, this is a mug that I really love, that I got off Etsy years ago. So I can try and find out and, hunt down the seller if you want. I know some of you saw this on Instagram and you really loved it. I adore this. It's just a series of kitties. We have a couple of these. I bought these over Christmas years ago. Probably 4 years ago, I think. And Seb has one as well, and it's very similar. So I'm drinking some green tea that I actually was drinking a few episodes ago, which is my usual organic brand, Les Jardins de Gaïa. And it's a peach. It's called Nectar Enchanté, and it's a peach and green tea blend, basically. And it's really lovely, and it always feels really happy and sunny to drink somehow. So it's perfectly in keeping with today's weather and the way I want to feel. So yeah, I'm sure you can hear as well from my voice that my voice is is much huskier than usual. So as for my handmade wardrobe, well, today I'm wearing a top that I made in December 2010, so over 4 years ago, which is a Jali top, the Sweetheart top, and the number is 2794. And I really love this one. I've worn it so much, and it just doesn't show at all. It looks like new, doesn't it? So it has quarter sleeves. It has obviously this Sweetheart neckline, and I was really chuffed because the print comes. It's a knit print that comes from Amsterdam back when Seb was working there. So that was back in 2008. And when I made this, I was really chuffed because I managed to find in my stash another knit fabric that had the same kind of teal blue in it, that matches really well one of the colours in this very abstract floral print, paisley print. So that made for a nice accent for the ribbing, really. So yes, that's for my handmade wardrobe, and now let's move on to events. So first of all, the tea swap is going on very well in the group. So everyone's been busy concocting their little package, and I sent mine out yesterday. Yesterday, and so that was a lot of fun to put together. So this has been organised by Rachel, who is Knitting Love on Ravelry. And it's been really going well. We have about, I think, 25 participants, which is a very nice number indeed, from all over the world. So that's been really exciting. So yeah, I'll be talking more about what I made for, because you have there was a little handmade gift to include. So I'll be talking more about this when my partner receives her package. The other event that I started in the previous episode is the Gentle Along, which has been very well received, and thank you so much to everyone who's been responding to it in such a positive way. That's been really wonderful. I'm so glad that so many of you find it inspiring and also aspire to this kind of thing. So the idea of the Gentle Along, so this is a craft along, so you can use any craft. And the idea, I think you could, you could even cook if you want, if you're into cooking. So the idea is to make something gentle for yourself, something that makes your life more gentle. So, I'm thinking just maybe a small shawl or a pair of cozy socks or a blanket. Quite a few of you have been are entering their blankets, their scrap yarn blankets, which is fantastic. Gail of the Yarniacs podcast is entering a log cabin blanket, but there's a few others as well. So that's wonderful. And my idea, because the thing is, and that's why I was so reluctant actually to start this craft along. I was reluctant because there are so many knit alongs, craft alongs going on, and it can be a little stressful. I mean, I don't deal well with deadlines. I have a lot of deadlines at work, and the less deadlines I have with my crafts, and the better it is. And that's why I was so reluctant, so hesitant to launch this. But first of all, I'm going to make the deadline very late, and I said late April, that I'm thinking rather maybe even early June now, so that we're well into the spring. And I'm even thinking that we might not need to finish our projects, because again, the idea is to be gentle to yourself. So just join with the project that make you happy, that really speaks self-gentleness to you, and we'll see. I think I'll just open a no chat thread for the prizes, because there will be some amazing prizes. Just where you can just post towards the end, just post pictures of your projects. Regardless whether they are finished or not. And I'm going to I think I'm just going to ask you to post just one post in this entry thread, so that we can feel free to post as many pictures as we want. But I don't want there to be a pressure to post more, to finish more things, to post more things. So let's just each keep at one post, which we can then, edit and add pictures to as we please, really. So, yeah, and what I've really been loving is that everyone has been so thoughtful on the thread about the ways in which they're thinking about this, the way in which they're being gentle to themselves through their crafts, and it's exactly what I was hoping for. So I'm really, really happy about that. So thank you for everyone who's been participating. Also, I created a tag on Instagram, which is the Gentle Along. It wasn't taken yet, so Gentle Along, all attached. And some of you have already been using it, which is really wonderful. So yes, something to, to guide us through to deep spring, let's say. So now I think it's time to move on to a bit of sewing. So for sewing, I have one project I'm having on my knees right now, because it's quite massive. So, and those of you who follow me on Instagram know what it is. So I made what I intended to do last time, which is a duvet cover for my daughter's bed. So I made this one evening coming home after work, after my longest day at work actually, but we were completely out of laundry, of linen for my daughter, and I just said, okay, that's it. I'm making this. We can't wait any longer. So, of course, it was only ready to use by the next morning, but still. So that's what I did. So it's going to be really hard to show, but never mind. Of course, I'll be putting pictures in the show notes and probably also on the screen somewhere. So it's, a duvet cover with a sheep print that I got before my daughter was born. I just fell in love with this whole set. So I got a few prints and a few matching, tonal fabrics to go with it. I made a few things for her as a baby. I made, how do you say? I can't remember. Little sleeping sack for her, which was really cute as well. Again, thanks to this fabric. And so I had this sleeping in my stash, this huge panel. And then, I had intended it as bed linen, so it wasn't big enough for, the size of the cover of the duvet, so I pieced it with this matching green, so I made strips of it, all along, down the sides, and down the top and bottom edges as well. And I think the kitty is trying to come and say hi, so I'm going to fetch her, and so she can say hi to you. So here she is, poor little one. She was so scared at the vet, because the first day was okay. We went, and when I'm with her, she's super calm. She just, we've been through so much together that she just trusts me through anything. So they were able to, make some tests and take some blood tests, etc. With just my cuddling her, and she just, was completely okay with it. But the next day she had to come back for more tests, and then they did have to sedate her a little, and then she had to stay for the whole day, because that's the way they're organised over there. So yeah, that wasn't fun at all. That was 2 days ago, so she's been recovering yesterday, and she's very happy to be home, aren't you? Yeah. So yes, here's Tiffany, and I'm so glad she made an appearance here. So I'm going to try and put her on my lap and show you the duvet cover again. But anyway, I'll be putting pictures. So you have this very cute and very fun sheep. I love this because it's so fun. It's not cutesy. It's cute, but it's not cutesy. Not modelling, So you have also these sheep here. And so yeah, you have a whole scene. And I can't remember the exact name of the line off the top of my head, so I'll be putting it in the show notes. And the back as well is another one of these prints in the same line, with sheep, running all over. So it's really nice because my daughter was so excited about this. Oh my goodness! So I fetched her from daycare. I wasn't quite done the first evening, and I was just so exhausted that I decided to go to bed, not to, so I wouldn't make any mistakes. I just had a couple of things to do, like the snaps to attach at the bottom. So this, this is an envelope kind of cover, and so I put snaps, all along the bottom edge, so I was definitely done the next day when I fetched her from daycare. And sometimes when she's at daycare, she doesn't want to go quite, straight away because she's into a game, or she's enjoying herself, which is great. But I told her, I have a surprise for you at home, and she was super excited. And so we came home, and she came to her room and put the cover onto her bed, and she just did this little gig, this little gig of joy, and then she proceeded to kiss every single one of the sheep on the print, and then she rolled onto it, and then she pretended to sleep under it. So yeah, huge success. It was so fun, and it's really nice because she has a nice sheep theme going on in her room actually, including some little glow-in-the-dark stickers that we put on her wall next to her, because at a time when she really had a hard time going to sleep, and so it was a way for her to, you know, for the room not to be completely dark. But then after a while, you know, in the night it just, you know, it fades, so she's not bothered by it either. And so it's really fun actually, these little sheep. And she also have a very, very cute sheep embroidery that my friend Sylvie made for her birth, as a birth gift. And actually Sylvie back then had seen me get this fabric, because I was making projects for her when I was expecting her in this fabric, in this line. So she got the same line of fabric. How thoughtful is that? She got the same line to make a little wall hanging with her embroidery. And her embroidery is also little sheep. I think it's a shepherd's bush design, for those of you who enjoy cross stitch. So yeah, there's a nice lime green and sheep theme going in her room now, so that's really fun. So that's my sewing project for this episode, for this fortnight. I didn't manage to make the project bags. I was really sick, and then of course I've had to catch up on my work. Also, I had a huge deadline at work. You know, of course, you are bound to get the flu when you have this massive deadline at work, don't you? I mean, that's the way things go. So yeah, this week as well, I managed to meet a huge deadline. So yeah, sewing went on the back burner for a while. So, but I do have aside, apart from my the little project bags that I love to make, because I got some really cute fabric for that. I'd also I just received an email today for by Go-To Patterns, and they have a free patterns on Craftsy for limited time. So if you have a little girl to sew for, I highly recommend you go and see. So I'm trying to try and show it to you. No, you're going to have the reflection. So never mind. I'll put it in the show notes, or I'll put a pictures here as well in the screen for those of you who are watching. And so it's a very cute. It's a very easy pattern. Circle skirt, really, with a gathered. I'm not sure if it's a gathered skirt or rectangles that are a circle skirt, or I think it's rather rectangles that are gathered at the waist. But what's really cute is that you have a little detail at an underlayer, if you want, that shows up at the bottom, which I think is really sweet. So yeah, that's a great stash burner, I think. If you have lots of little fabric pieces, that would be wonderful. So I happen to have a few, so that would be a really nice project for spring. So, and yes, spring is coming and I want to make more things for me. I like to make an onion tunic that I've already made twice in the past, but it's a really great pattern for the spring with, leggings. So I'd love to make another one of these. And yes, other dresses, definitely. So let's move on now to a bit of knitting, shall we? Okay. So in terms of finished project, I have a half object, as a lot of you say, because I have one sock for Seb. So I finished one of the socks for Seb. And I'll go to the sock blocker in a minute. But yeah, here it is. So for those of you who are watching, it's a very stripy sock with lots of blues and greens in it, basically. And also some cream and black accents, which really make it pop, I think. So I did my usual cuff down sock based on Susan B. Anderson's recipe on her blog, How I Make My Socks by Susan B. Anderson. Seba has a really small foot, actually, so I actually made this with the same number of stitches that Susan B. Anderson makes for hers. For me, I cast on 56 stitches when it's for me, and here I cast on 64 stitches. I knit this on 1.5 double pointed needles, and the yarn is online, Supersocke 100. So online is a German brand, and they do these really nice, really fun self-striping sock yarn. It's extremely soft, and I can feel it's going to be really warm. It's actually much softer than the Biscotte and et Compagnie yarn that I knit up for me. I knit socks out of it last summer. It's a lot squishier and a lot warmer. It feels warmer somehow, and a lot softer as well. So Seb is super excited about these, and I did again I did the Eye of Partridge stitch for the heel, which I love, and he loves it too. It's really, really cool. So yeah, so that's one sock. And yes, let's just talk about the sock blocker right now. So I just got this, this arrived today. So these are sock blockers. I have a couple, of course, that I got off Etsy, and I'm extremely happy about them. I think they are so gorgeous, so gorgeous. So you have cutouts to let the air flow, of course, so that the sock dries. They are laser cutouts, and as you can see there, if you're watching, they're gorgeous butterflies and a rose. And so these come from Burning Impressions on Etsy. She's wonderful to work with. I really hope you go, and I really hope she gets sales out of this episode, because she really deserves it. I don't think she's been around for that long making these, especially this kind of design, which is so pretty, so feminine. She's really, really kind, really nice to work with. Really the kind of person, the whole reason why we shop at Etsy, I think, really, because she convoyed me when I purchased this and asked if I wanted my name written on top of it, which, I didn't even ask for. She didn't need to do that, to go the extra mile, but she did. And so I'm super excited, because I asked if I could have Isabel and Fluffy Fibers on the other one. So these are really well made. The wood is really smooth. I can wholly recommend her. And also this came, I didn't take it up with me, but these came with a little extra gift of very cute kind of keychain with a tiny sock blocker with inches in it, which is quite handy because it allows you to measure things. And also a little wooden block, really, with the recipe for the kitchenette stitch, which is again so handy because you can forget about that kind of thing sometimes, especially the beginning. I feel the first couple of rows I always have to check. I mean, it's getting better now because I've been kitchenering quite a few things lately, but it's always good to have this little memento. So that was really sweet. So yeah, Burning Impressions on Etsy, and of course I'll be putting the link in the show notes. And so of course I've been knitting on the second sock as well. So this is my progress. I started Monday morning on the train, or Sunday evening to prepare. Sunday evening to prepare the sock for the train. And I went to work on Monday feeling I had to go, and I just felt better. And yeah, that wasn't such a good idea. But anyway, so it's not a huge amount of progress. Again, I've been really busy with a work deadline and being sick. But I mean, I just finished the heel flap again, Eye of Partridge stitch, which I love. Seb is really excited about these, and I really want to hurry with these because spring is coming. So in a month he won't be needing woolen socks anymore, not in Montpellier, no. So yeah, again, I'm knitting these on my higher sharps, 1.5 DPNs, which is 2.5 millimeter needles. Yeah, My other work in progress is my Hito Fude. So I'm still knitting on the sleeves, but I made quite a bit of progress. Well, again, given the small amount of time that I had, I think that's not bad, right? So yeah, let me try and stretch it out so you can see better the stitch pattern. Yeah. So I think I'm actually almost done with the sleeves part, the sleeve and back part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I just finished the 9th repeat and I need 11 repeats. And the more I do it, of course, the faster it goes, because it's mindless knitting, absolutely mindless knitting now. So I'm knitting this out of La Droguerie yarn, which is their Surnaturel line, which is merino, French merino, super soft, and it's this gorgeous slate colourway. It's ardoise in French, and it's this bluish, purplish grey that I really love. That I think it's so interesting. So yeah, and I think that's a nice choice for this project, because this yarn is really drapey. So I know it because I crocheted a sweater out of this yarn 4 or 5 years ago, and because crochet tends to give a stiffer fabric, and even in crochet it was really nice and drapey, so I knew it would work well for knitting, and especially for lace knitting. And I know it's going to open up quite a bit when I block it. It blocks that really well, this yarn. So yeah, that's that. Plugging along nicely. And I think that is it for my works in progress. So now I need to move on to my projects, and especially to my stash acquisitions, which may look like stash accusations, because yeah, I treated myself. Again, it was a harsh couple of weeks, so I treated myself, as Kristen would say, a Wullenwein of the Yarngasm podcast. But I don't think yarn acquisitions should be seen as yarn accusations, so let's just embrace it, because these are really wonderful things. So, here is some amazing yarn. I think that may well be the most beautiful yarn I've ever seen. I mean, seriously, how gorgeous is this? And wait, because the best part of it is this is hand-dyed with black beans, so completely natural yarn. The yarn is also sourced very carefully. So this is from Gregoria Fibers, which just opened. The online shop just opened. If you are on Instagram, maybe you may have been familiar with A Speckles, and she just changed her Instagram username to reflect her shop opening. So she's now Gregoria on Instagram, and I've always loved, she posts the most beautiful and serene pictures, and she's very into natural dyeing and natural wools and being very eco-conscious, which of course resonate a lot for me. And so as soon as I knew she would be opening her shop, within the month or a couple of months. So I had been saving up actually for her shop opening, because I knew I'd probably love what she was making, because she'd been posting some pictures as well of her yarn, preparing for her shop opening, and I knew I'd probably want to snag something in there, and so I had been saving up precisely for when her shop opened. So when her shop opened, I found these. So these are sock yarn, 75% wool, 25 nylon, 437 yards, which is 400 meters. So yes, and it's dyed with black beans. And the funniest thing is that the day before, or just a couple of days before, because I have been wanting to dye with natural ingredients as well. And a couple of days before, I had been looking up black bean dyeing. So that, you know, it felt like it was meant to be. I am so over the moon with this. I mean, there's so much depth to the dyeing, but at the same time it's so soft. The colours are so soft, and I can't wait to knit this up. I'm going to make a top out of this, short sleeve top, not the water lily. I was tempted, but I like top-down tops better, really. So I have an idea too about what I might knit up with this, but it's still in the planning stages, very much in the dreaming stages, I should say, even. But I think this is just as beautiful to me as because my ultra favorite yarn that I've ever used and knit with was the Kettle Yarn Company Islington, which is a mixture of merino and blend of merino and silk. But I think this even beats it because this is dyed naturally. So to me, this is even more special. So I think this is definitely the most special yarn I have. So Anna, I think you're probably watching. Thank you so much. This is gorgeous. And Anna actually included a gift for me because she's been watching the podcast from the start, she told me, which I was so humbled about, watching and listening to the podcast from the start. So here's what she gave me. I was completely speechless. I actually teared up a little bit when I opened this. This was just so gorgeous. So she made and as if that wasn't enough, Anna also included something for you. And I'm going to use this as a prize for the Gentle Along. So here is what she so very generously included for one of you. So how gorgeous is this shade? I mean, and that's so well in keeping with, you know, the theme of the previous podcast, which was purple is the new black. So this is some Aran weight lamb's wool and mohair, dyed with sandalwood and logwood. This is just, I don't know, it's exquisite, I think. Isn't that amazing, the colours that you can get with nature? So, Anna, thank you so very much for this prize. And there's another prize that's coming in spinning as well, that's going to be really exciting. But I'm so over the moon that one of you is going to receive this as a present for the Gentle Along, because you can't get any gentler than that, can you? Surely not. So actually, I'm realizing that the previous podcast was all about purple, and this one is all about blues and teals, because I love purple, but my ultimate favorite color is anything that has to do with blue. And for the longest time, I was really obsessed with everything being blue. You know, from teal to dark blue, and of course, purple is quite close to blue. You know, it's the next complementary color between blue and red, of course. Just as, you know, green as well is on the other side, and basically anything that's blue or around blue in terms of the color wheel, I love. So that's why I chose this wonderful teal color here. Of course, my heater fooder is going to be blue. It's a really bluish grey. And my top today as well reflects this. This matches so well, doesn't it? Except socks, of course, is in blues and greens because he loves these colours. And even my spinning is going to have quite a bit of blue as well. So I think with the last two episodes, this one and the previous one, you've had all my colour obsessions rounded up. So I think that means it's time to move to spinning now. So first of all, for spinning, here's the ball of yarn, the cake of yarn out of the handspun that I talked about last time, that I'd finished in the previous episode. So actually, as I was taking pictures for the show notes of my handspun, I thought maybe it was a little underspun. And you know, last time I raved about how squishy and calm it was because I hadn't overspun it, but I think actually it was underspun. And one thing I'd like to say as well is when I edit my podcasts and listen back to them, I realise sometimes I just cringe actually, because I just think I sound so self-satisfied. And I'm sure that, you know, some of you may feel like that. I think it's more a question of being enthusiastic about what I'm showing, what I'm making, especially in terms of spinning. Always make the assumption that I'm very excited about my stuff because I'm so new at it and I know how much of a way I still have to go. I'm really well aware of this. But I'm just excited to see that I'm making progress. But every time I know how much I'll still have to improve. Also, a lot of the time when I'm talking about my knitting, for instance, I think it knits up beautifully because the yarn is so gorgeous. So anyway, just sometimes I'm just thinking when I listen back to myself, I don't know, I wish I wasn't so self-satisfied maybe, but I think it's also good to embrace your enthusiasm in what you're making, you know? So anyway, back to this. Actually, I looked at it with a more critical eye and I thought it was underspun and it wouldn't be so enjoyable to knit, therefore. So what I did is not underspun, it was spun correctly, I think it was okay, but underplied. So I replied it. So what I did is I put it back onto a bobbin. Actually, no, I caked it. Because that's also when I was caking it, you know, it became really obvious that it was underplied. So I caked it and then I plied it back again onto a bobbin, a little quicker, but just making sure I was putting in a bit more twist. And I think it's better now. It's really better. It's really much better, I think. And I caked it up again. And I really like this because you can really see much better than in a skein actually the way it's going to knit up, the colours it's going to knit up into. So first is going to be this grey, then this mauve mixed with grey, then mauve mixed with green, then green mixed with blue, and green mixed with mauve again. So I intentionally, you know, wanted a very barber pulled effect on this. So I was very intentionally, you know, plying it randomly, plying two different colours every time. So I'm planning to actually use this for my Gentle Elan project, and I'm going to make a shawl, which is the Quaku Stretch Boomerang shawl. And I'm blanking on the name of the designer, but I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, and I look forward to starting, which I can anytime now because it's caked up already. And then on the weekend, I did another spinning project from beginning to end. Sorry. From beginning to end. But that's because it's a little under 50 grams actually. 50 grams being a little under 2 ounces. So, I had some rolags from Sarah's Texture Crafts. I showed them to you and I mentioned them on the podcast in episode 22, I think. The first episode I filmed. Because I just got an order from her. Because I wanted to get some rolags and some bats to learn and spin a woolen yarn. So that's what I did. That's my first attempt at spinning woolen. So for those of you who don't know about spinning, when you spin, you have a whole range of the way in which you draft the fibre. You have a whole range from worsted to woolen draft. And worsted is when you feed. You have a forward way of feeding, of drafting your fibre, and you feed it little by little, like an inchworm, some say, because it's really just this this length onto the bobbin. And the opposite end of the spectrum is backwards long draw, where you actually, instead of feeding forward the fibre, you hold and loosen the fibre, the thread really, the single onto your hand, and then with the hand that holds the supply, the fibre, you move away, you move backwards, and this creates a woolen yarn that has a lot more air in it. And so I wanted to try this because I'd been following, J.C. Buck Faulkner's class on Craftsy, which is entitled "Drafting from Worsted to Woolen," and so I watched I watched the lesson on long draw again before I started this, and so I went to town with it. And so these were rolags in the Oslo colourway that Sarah does. So this was a really enjoyable experience. It's so different, and you have to mindfully let go of control when you do long draw, which is really big. And every time when I stopped and I came back to it, I was just tempted to do my usual worsted draw, short forward draw. So it's so interesting because it's just an exercise in mindfully letting go of control, which is really paradoxical, of course. You have to control yourself at losing control, but it really, that was also very, of course, I'm thinking that's really interesting for the gentle along, because you have to understand that, because with short forward draw, you're feeding it so, you're controlling so much more because you're feeding it an inch at a time. But here you have to let the fibre do the job. But on the other hand, it was really enjoyable because of these little rolags that were so cute and so fun. So these were in the Oslo colourway by Sarah. I can't show you rolags anymore because I spun them all up, but I'll probably be including a picture of how lovely they were. And these were really like bonbons, You just couldn't stop. I mean, it was always a matter of, oh, I'll just do another one. Or, oh, I can't just stop now. I mean, it's just like having a box of chocolates and not being able to stop at just one. It was really the same way with our rolags, and that's why they spun up so fast as well. So I really recommend these. They're really fun. They're really a little treat to use. So I was supposed to have 50 grams, but as I weighed the skein, there's only 43 grams in it. So I'm thinking I probably lost a rolag somewhere. Maybe someone or a little kitty played with it. I don't know, but anyway, but it's okay. So the colours in here are actually a mix of my favourite colours, since you have some blues, a very deep sea blue, and some purple, and it's all mixed together with a greyish white. And also there's quite a bit of sparkle in it. You probably won't be able to see, but there's a lot of sparkle going on, which was really fun as well to spin up. And then, because these were spun woolen, I plied them a little tighter than I usually would. Usually when I spin worsted, I ply my yarn at a lower ratio with a bigger pulley, so that it twists a little less than it has been spun. But it's recommended with woolen because your fabric, your singles tend to be spun a little less tightly. It's recommended to do the same ratio or even go a little higher. So I did the same ratio, and yes, so I really love the colours. I really love the barber pulling. You have a lot of barber pulling in it, and actually you even have a mild effect, because the rolags themselves were barber pulling when I was spinning them, and then I spun these onto themselves. So this is a 2-ply, a very basic 2-ply. So you have a lot of interesting things going on in here. But yeah, that's my really fun little project, and it's so rewarding to do. I'm really in the mood for a smaller project right now, for little bonbons project like that. So yes, that's my spinning. And now for more stash accusations. I've been a sheep. And I've been completely enabled by Kristen, by a Vollenvine Yarns and the Yarngasm podcast, by Molly of a Homespun House podcast, which I adore. I love her podcast. It's just one of my favourite breaks in the week is watching her. Danny of Little Bobbins Knits is also one of my ultimate favourite podcasts and one of my ultimate treats to watch in the week. So these 3 ladies have been spinning fuzzlings by Fondant Fibre, and I just got too curious. They were so excited about these, so I just had to see for myself. And so I got a couple of these bags, the fuzzlings. So I just take a few out so you can see them, and they're really, I can completely understand. These are so amazingly soft, and also they're quite large. You really get like a mini braid. You know, it's far from ridiculous. So you really can get a decent amount of yarn out of this. It's very different from the Countess Ablaze, which are really, as she said, it's a blending box, and it's really, you know, ends from her braids that didn't make it into a braid. So from her tops that didn't make it into a braid. And it's also very fun to spin, and I'd had a lot of fun spinning these. But these are different. These are really different. They're longer. They're just different. They're really airy and so soft. So yeah. So I got the 2 bags are the same. So you get 5 in each. So I got some of this very powder blue, light blue, a stronger blue mixed with green, some purple with some greys, another purple with some mauve in it, which is absolutely gorgeous, and then a green one with some orange. So very fun mix, and I'm thinking I might actually spin a couple of these together, you know, a couple of different colours together. That would be really fun as well. But we'll see. And as if that wasn't enough, Deb from Fondant Fibre, but she amazingly included some gifts for you and for me. So here is what's for you. So also here's her. Oh, I don't think you'll be seeing anything. So she's a very cute card and a handwritten note on it. She included another bag of tea, which is lovely. I love getting tea treats, of course, in the mail. And so here is something that one of you will be receiving in the Gentle Along. How amazing is this? And again, purple and blues. It's just perfect, isn't it? It's absolutely amazing. And there's some sparkle in it. So it's Superwash BFL and Trilubar, which I don't know, I'm guessing it's the sparkle. And it's 100 grams. And the colourway is called Happenstance. And it's hand-dyed in the High Peaks. And if you've followed the podcast for a while, you know I have a history with the Peak District, and it's become one of our favourite places to go on holidays. It's a very special place for us. So yeah. So this is an extremely generous gift from Deb for you that will be included in the Gentle Along. And as if that wasn't enough, there was also a wonderful gift for me. Rolags. Well, no, these are peonies, so they are more tightly wound, rolled, and there's this amazing mixture of deep purple and blue. So that couldn't be any better for me. So I'm extremely excited. So Deb, if you're watching, thank you so very much for being so amazingly generous, and I'll definitely be back as soon as my fuzzlings are done. And I've gone, you know, my stash has shrunk a bit. Oh dear, yes. Because she dyes the most amazing colorways, and she makes wonderful project bags as well. If you're into project bags, she makes really pretty. Oh dear, the sun is just shining here. Okay, I had to stop because the sun was shining right through the window, and I think it was probably blinding you. So I'll see what I can do when I edit. But anyway, yes, Deb of Fondant Fibre, who's in the UK, also makes beautiful project bags in various sizes as well, which are absolutely lovely. And from what I've seen on podcasts, they are very well made. So yes. And with this, I think that is it for today. So thank you very much for watching. I'm afraid I've been a little scatterbrained today because I'm still quite, feeling quite sick and tired. But I did want to put this episode out, not to wait for another week. So I do hope you'll understand. I'm sure you will. So thank you very much for listening and for watching. And I will talk to you hopefully in a fortnight. And until then, have a lovely time. Bye.